Trump's fines could be an issue, or maybe they're a constitutional issue. Now, people are starting to point out, rightfully so, that the Eighth Amendment protects against excessive fines imposed. Now, the full thing, excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. We do have to wonder the fine in this case where Trump was accused of falsifying his estimates or valuations on his properties. And so the fine is $454 million. And Trump is having difficulty even securing bond on that, which is over $100 million, right? And they're going to quickly move to seize his assets if he doesn't pay within this 30-day window that they've given. I do believe that he does have a constitutional argument to make. This valuation was pulled out of thin air as to what the fine was going to be. It just so happened to match pretty much what he had in terms of assets, right? In liquid assets. I think what you'll see is you're going to see an appeal to the Supreme Court, and more than likely the Supreme Court will actually take it up. It would kind of be an injustice for them to take up previous cases in terms of excessive fine, but not to take up this case. And one of the things that may happen, and especially in this whole valuation issue, is they accused him of overvaluing his real estate assets. Even though everybody said, no, we all agreed to the number and the deal got done and he paid and everything was fine. Nobody's a harmed person in this whole event. But the government went forward with it in New York. And I think what you'll probably find is after that 30 days, what they'll end up doing is saying, well, that tower over there, that's worth about $15 million. And they'll hoover up as many assets as they can, giving massively undervalued valuations of them and saying, well, this is only going to be $15 million towards your total $454 million. And this does several things. It eats up his money. It eats up his time. It keeps him away from campaigning. This is really just another method to try and keep him from running a campaign. And while the Supreme Court could take the case in terms of the excessive fine, they're not going to touch anything in terms of all these cases that are popping up. And much like you saw the last time Trump was in the Supreme Court, or in front of the Supreme Court, they're not going to expand their scope of what they're doing. They're only going to talk about this specific event. And I think there are people on both sides who think the Supreme Court should just handle the whole thing and take all of it as a Trump versus people in the U.S. government. But that's not their role. They're trying to be very narrow about what they're ruling on. But I do believe if this case got brought before them, that they would rule it's unconstitutional to punish a real estate developer $454 million for what the government determined was an overvaluation, when everybody else determined, no, it was fine. It was due course of business. We'll see what happens, but constitutionally, you could make a really good argument this is an excessive fine. And this is a fine that would not hit anybody else like this one does him. So we'll see. Take care, guys.